Okay, welcome back. This chapter is about using Microsoft Excel. Now, if you're following along in the textbook, we're going to cover practically all the topics in Chapter EX1 and some of the topics in EX2. Okay, so you guys know what spreadsheets are all about, right? Let's go ahead and fire up good old Microsoft Excel and get started. So I'm going to just go to the Start menu. I'm going to go to All. I'm going to Microsoft Office, find Microsoft Excel. And click on this little bad boy and we'll get this guy going. Ta-da! Okay, so right off the bat, we have to kind of learn about how to navigate through these things. So notice how I have a particular cell that's got a little black box around it. And, you know, if I just use the mouse and click, I can make other black boxes show up. Notice that this little number here is changing as I do that. Isn't that pretty cool? So I can actually go here and type, I want B2 and hit enter. And doink, it gets me to B2. Sounds like I'm playing bingo, doesn't it? So I can either click using the mouse, which is the most obvious way, or I could just type into here, okay? So I'm gonna pretend like we're gonna be putting together some sort of a spreadsheet we're gonna do some calculations on. So I'm just gonna say, I don't know, third quarter, I don't know, stats, something, a title. So that's going to be the title that's going to appear across the top of my guy. So over here I have, I've got August, September. Well, I guess well, who cares? Whatever your third quarter is. Let's pretend like that's the third quarter for this company. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have like sales and projected sales and all this, but I kind of messed up. I actually started typing this on that second row here. And so I kind of messed up. So what I need to do now is I need to fix it. I need to figure out a way to insert a new row between row 1 and 2 because I didn't want that. I actually wanted to have some headings starting about right there, then have this down below it. Okay? So I'm going to click right here on where it is that I want the new row to appear. I want the new row to appear above that. Now notice how when you click here, you're only clicking one cell, but if I click on the little 2, I get the entire row. If I pick on the letters, I get the entire column. Right? Cool. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to do a right click and say Insert. Now, pretty cool. Now, I don't have to do it that way. I can do here, go to Insert, and then, you know, basically tell it I want some more stuff. But let's just stick with it, the simple things. So I'm going to right click and say Insert, and doink, it automatically moved my other guys down. So this is going to be, I don't know, sales. This is going to be the target. You know, what was I trying to get to, and how many did I actually end up sales? Okay, so now I'm going to start adding some data. So in August, I was going to sell 20 of these guys. I mean, I did sell 20 of them, but my target was 25. So what I'm doing, I'm just clicking, and then I'm using the keyboard to type. So over here, my sales was 33, and my target was 25. And here I had, I don't know, 24, and my target was 25. Okay, so all I did was just click. Now, if I just move out here someplace and I just type a number, 1, 2, 3, and hit the Enter key on the keyboard. Now watch what happens when I hit the Enter key. It automatically says, okay, I assume you're done, and move down 1. So you can almost close your eyes and do this without looking. You just put the cursor right here and type, you know, 20, enter, 33, enter, 24, enter. Boom, just boom, 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 boom. Okay? Kind of cool, huh? All right, now I've got some extra stuff up here I need to erase. Now, I'm going to right click in this guy, and one of the things you can do is clear content because I don't want that here. So I'm going to do this, and I'll do clear content. Now, all I did was do some typing, but right off the bat, something is a little weird. The numbers are all justified to the right, and the text is all justified to the left. It's justified to the left here, 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 and here. Kind of weird, huh? But that's by design, so that's okay. That's perfectly normal. Now look up here. We talk about the types of justification. If I click here, it's not showing that the alignment is different. So, you know, I would almost think that I'd be able to see. So, because the default for text is always to the left, and the default for numbers is always to the right, this is how you would change it if it was something other than the default. So, for example, I wanted this number for some bizarre reason. I wanted it to the left. I could hit this little alignment guy and make it go to the left, but that's kind of odd. I'm just going to hit the undo button. Okay, so it only shows in the alignment something that's unusual, something that's out of the ordinary. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to put the cursor right at the bottom of this little list right here. All right, just going to put that right there. And then over here on my toolbar, there's this thing called sum. And this is what's called the auto sum. And it can, generally speaking, it can figure out what you want. I'm just going to click this little button. And it says, is this what you had in mind? Now this is magic. I swear. It looked at that column and said, you know, there's 3 numbers in a row here and then a blank spot where you clicked. So I bet you that what he wanted to do was to sum that column, starting with the numbers. And so I'm just going to assume that that's correct, and I'm just going to hit the enter key to make it do its trick. Woohoo! So it created a sum of those numbers, and I assume that their numbers are correct. All right, well, I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to put the cursor right here. I'm going to click this guy, doink, and it's going to assume that that's what I want. And sure enough, you know, 3 times 25 is 75. Well, let's see if it works. If it worked up and down, let's see if it works on the horizontal. What if I just click right here? What do you think? Think it'll work? I'm going to click the button, doink. It automatically figures it out. It automatically knows that we're only talking about numbers. So it did not pick August, because what the heck is August plus 20 plus 25? That's kind of dumb, right? So that is one of the cool things that you can do, is you can have the machine kind of figure it out for you. Now, you don't have to do it that way. In fact, I typically do not, because I don't want to have any surprises. So what I typically do is I take the mouse and I lasso, so to speak. See how I did? I just held the mouse button down and just drug it, right? So I grab this guy and I drag it. Now that I have that selected, and I go here and do that, it's now pretty much well taken all the guesswork out, and I kind of prefer that. I do this and go doink. Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna do it here, doink. Okay, so I need to put a heading up here. This is gonna be actually, well, okay, screw that. All right, so this is, we're kind of getting there, but there's some things that just don't look right. For example, I kind of want this third quarter stats to be kind of centered on this thing. I want this thing to look pretty. Okay, so I could just kind of move this guy over. Let's say I want to move some text. Now, moving stuff is kind of bizarre, so you just have to pay attention. When you zoom into this little guy, you know, when I click on one of these guys, I get the little fat plus sign. See the fat plus sign, right? So I'm moving this guy, but if I slowly move towards one of these edges, right, not the one in the corner, but any one of the edges, I get this little double-headed arrow. Okay, that will allow me to move something. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it, and I'm going to move it like way over here. Doink. Isn't that pretty cool? So once again, I'm going to pick this guy up and move him to this part right there. You think, yeah, that's pretty doggone close. Yeah, that's close. But is it exactly centered? Well, probably not. So just for grins, I'm going to grab this guy and put it back where it was. So, whoop, there we go. Cool. Here's what we're going to do. Is because I want this centered, I'm going to merge a couple of cells together. So I'm going to light up 4 cells. Now, even though it looks like it's third quarter, it stops at about like the E, right? It looks like that cell B starts with the E. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. This B has got nothing in it. Absolutely. How can I tell? Because this is where it would be if it was something in there. See? So how can I see it if it's not there? Well, it has actually overflowed the contents of that cell and written off off the edge, so to speak. So I'm going to do is I'm going to light 4 cells up, and there's this little guy right here that's for merge and center, and it shows you a little diagram what it's going to do. It's going to take some cells that has some text, it's going to merge them together and then center them. Okay, that's exactly what I want. So I'm just going to hit this guy. Doink. Isn't that pretty cool? So now, and you can kind of tell with the little gray lines. So this is one cell. It's got nothing in it. This is one cell. This is one giant cell. Now, it's not 4 cells anymore. It's one giant cell. Pretty cool. All right, let's do some more. So let's say I want to put like the sum here. Okay, so I'm just going to put sum since that's what that is, right? Now, I kind of like, I'm going to ignore this column for a minute because that doesn't make any sense. There's no such thing as sales plus target, but give me a break. Let's say I want to dress this thing up. Here's what I do, okay? I like to see if you were to print this guy right now, these light gray lines do not print. They're just for you, okay? This is so you can see the cells. If they weren't there, you wouldn't be able to tell what cell you're in. So they need to show you something. When it comes time to printing, they're not going to show. So what I normally do is I light up everything that I want and go here to this little guy talking about the borders, and I want to turn on all borders. So here's the button for all borders. Doink. Now that, to me, looks a little better. I at least see what's going on. Okay. And a lot of this, of course, is just personal preference. So now I know what the sum of this column is and the sum of that column. Pretty cool? Okay. So let's say instead of this being like number of units, I wanted this to be dollars. So how do I format the value in one of these cells? Well, you click on the cell you want, and then over here you could just hit this little guy. That does a type of dollar amount. I usually just go down to the top here and pick currency. Okay, accounting is a little different. Accounting has different things for negative numbers and things like that. Normally I just want currency. So I picked that and it automatically figured out this had to be 2 decimal points, right? That pretty cool? Now I'm going to do that again, except this time, instead of just having one of them clicked, I'm going to light up a bunch of these guys. Okay, I'm going to light up the entire batch. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to click currency all at once. Doink. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now when I'm applying a style to a particular cell or applying style to a bunch of cells, it's just a matter of how much you highlight. If I click this guy, I'm only doing that guy. All right, let's keep going. So for example here, let's say I want this row to be a slightly different color or something. I might have to put something in this spot here. I'm just going to say junk because it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so now I have 3 columns. Okay, let's say that I want this column to be shaded somehow. I want just this part right here to be different because they're column headings. I like them to be bold. I like them to be centered. I like to have perhaps a shaded background. Okay, so instead of doing them one at a time, I'm going to light them all up. And let's go through. I want to make it bold. So this is just like Microsoft Word. It's just like what we did in PowerPoint. I just click this to make it bold. Just like Word, if you want to make something centered, I click on the little center guy. Doink. And just like the others. Now here's how I can change the text color. Well, I don't necessarily want to change the text color. I want to change the background color. And I'm going to use a little down arrow and pick me, I don't know, green, kind of a pukey color green. Okay, doink. Now, because I've got it highlighted, it looks a little funky. So I'm just going to click someplace else so I can step back and look. And I go, yeah, that looks good. We're getting there. Okay, this is a good place to stop for the 15-minute mark. We'll pick this thing up again in just a few.